will talk about this knife, which is TS191 from Mazwan Mokhtar Design. And here's the logo of this guy. Amazing. I mean, he makes very, very cool knives. I have few of his designs from Tucson, of course, and they are just super cool. Of course, again, the blade is like, you can very easily see your exact fingerprint when you do just this, and it stays there. It's just your fingerprint is there absolutely perfectly. Yeah, a fingerprint magnet is this kind of a satin finish, or I don't know what exactly is it. But this knife has some issues. Let me tell you about the issues first, and then I will tell you how awesome this knife is. So this knife has issue that, for me at least, this particular knife has the issue that it was not easy to flip. Now it's very easy to flip, but it wasn't. It was very difficult to flip. Why? Because the D10 ball was going onto this kind of, you see, I don't know if it's horrible, but this blade finish here is a little bit of a, it has a texture, and the same texture is here just below the D10 ball. It was, now it's not. As you can see, I kind of sanded it, and it's visible that I sanded also this part of the blade here. It doesn't matter, it's cool now, but I flipped it like 1,000 times and it wasn't getting better. So I disassembled it, I sanded it up to a mirror finish almost, and now it's flipping very well. So the thing that it's amazing about this knife, that this knife is around, let's say around $100, even less. In the United States you can find it for $90 from White Mountain Knives. With this steel, of course. This is the D2 steel, I think. Yeah, it's D2. There is another version which is $120, which is with S90V steel. So I don't know, D2 steel looks good enough for me, but this one is D2. So the idea about this knife, and what is very interesting about this knife, is not only the design, but the quality of everything in this knife. I mean, how this insert, the carbon fiber insert, is put inside the titanium with virtually no difference. It's like a part of the titanium. It's so good. And also this little texture on the titanium handle, and also the blade itself is, as you can see, it's pretty thin. So let's go with a normal knife. This one is pretty similar, by the way, but there are many knives which are with thicker blades. As you can see here, this knife is again from Tucson, but it's thicker, and overall the overall knife is pretty thin because the blade is thin. Also the tolerances between the blade and the handle are very small, and the knife, when you hold it in your hand, it's like a piece of jewelry, a piece of art. It's not like a knife. It's so well made. Everything is so well thought of, and for this price, less than $100, you will never find a knife like this. I mean, this is probably one of the most well and perfect quality production knives that I have ever held in my hands for any amount of money. I mean, I have knives for over $600. I may say some of them are not this quality. I mean, yeah, the quality of the making of the knife is just on another level. It is just something else, in my opinion at least. It's, I mean, yeah, you can see a thin titanium handles, and the blade is barely, there is no space, virtually no space between the blade and the handle, and it still doesn't touch the handles. It's so good. So yeah, I'm sure that after watching this video you will go and buy this knife, which you should do, because this knife is amazing. The only thing that I find a little bit strange is that the knife is kind of heavy. Why? It's titanium, yes, and carbon fiber. They didn't melt the titanium, the inside of the handle, which, I mean, it kind of looks heavy. It's it gives you this feeling of expensiveness, we may say. And this knife is comparably with the materials and the quality of the manufacturer and everything, it's not expensive at all. It's super cheap for what you get, and it's just perfect. Of course, if you can find it with S90V, it will be even more perfect, because S90V, everybody knows it's better steel than D2, so it should be okay. But still, I think everybody who respects themselves have to have this knife in their collection, especially now when this knife is widely available. You can find it in eBay, you can find it in AliExpress, you can find it in DHgate, in some American sites if you're American, of course, because from Europe, for us to order this knife from the American site for $90, it will cost me like $20 at least the shipment, so it will be 110, for example, and then I will have some taxes here in Bulgaria. It will be over $130 for me to buy this knife with the D2 steel from United States. That's why I buy it from China, and this one exactly I bought it from AliExpress, and it was very costly for me because I don't know why, because they took some yeah, it was with taxes here in Bulgaria. Some things from China get taxed here, some not. It's just random stuff, but this one get taxed, and it cost me a little bit more than in AliExpress, which is the biggest price you can find is in AliExpress usually. And it cost me around $130 or $120, I think, maybe 30. Well, I didn't bought it from AliExpress, by the way. I bought it from DHgate, which is similar. But yeah, it's the only knife I bought from DHgate for a long time. And it took like more than a month to come, but it came and it just blew my mind. When I opened the box and I saw the knife, how thin it is and how good it looks, it was just wow, the quality. And here you see the pocket clip, how it's milled. It's just something else. When you see how here in the carbon fiber they have this little grooves for those bolts, it's I mean, yeah, and they are perfectly matching the bolts. The tolerances, I mean, I think Tucson is flexing muscles with this knife, I may say, with this particular one. With other knives, not so much. For example, this one, I disassembled it a couple of times just to fix a few things, although this is probably my favorite knife from Tucson, but there are personal reasons for this. This is not like with the best materials or anything. It's not the best made knife. The design, although it's one of the best, I may say, I just like it so much, but now it's not centered. Now it's, you see, it's a little bit going on the bottom here. It's not centered, which, I mean, it's always bugging me that it's not completely centered, but probably I did something wrong. I'm not sure. I'm expecting at least one more to arrive, and I will see how is by factory if it's centered, and we will see what I can do about it. But this one is just centered. I disassembled it a couple of times and assembled it. It was completely perfect every time, no problem. Disassembly, assembly. Tucson knives are famous with that they are very easy to disassemble and assemble because their tolerances are very well made, and everything is so well made that even if you assemble it a couple of times, most of the time the knife will be completely okay. Nothing will happen. It will be completely centered. It will be just perfect, except for this guy. This guy is not centered, as we can see. It's like, come on, go centered. No, okay. But yeah, this knife, TS191, just enormously good knife. And of course, when I, polished the way of the detent ball, now it's good. It was making this sound because I told you the metal below the detent ball was textured, like some of the blade here, like this one here. You cannot see it quite much, but it's textured, and this texture was making the opening a little bit awkward and not so easy, not so fast opening. Now it's just super cool. I mean, it's opening and closing, and the quality, I mean, again, I'm just blown by the quality of this knife. It's so nice. I am super stoked. And if they make this knife with M390 and with Damascus inserts here, it would be just an insta buy. I mean, this knife deserves to be with more quality, especially the blade steel. Although many people say that sometimes the 14, the N29, whatever steel that Tucson is using, one of their cheapest steels, is sometimes better than their M390, which is, yeah, probably it's true. Maybe the M390 is difficult to make into a knife, production knife, I mean. So yeah, but amazing knife, I would say. Let's compare it to the Spyderco Paramilitary again, as always, almost always. The last video I forgot to do that, but yeah, it's bigger than Spyderco Paramilitary, and the blade itself is bigger, everything is bigger, so the knife overall, and it's much heavier. Spyderco is pretty light knife, but as you can see, this knife is much more expensive than this knife, with FRN, and of course the blade still is S110V, which is of course superior than the D2, but still you see the materials here, and you cannot compare it to this one. I mean, the blade, the handle materials on this one are far better, and the overall time that they have spent to make this handle here is much greater than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. But this one is at least, I think, almost twice or half the price of the Spyderco Paramilitary, which makes it amazing knife. And the ergonomics also pretty well. I mean, I love holding this handle. It's just so nice. The feeling of the handle is so nice. I probably I don't know, I just like it very much. So yeah, I like many Tucson knives, by the way, but this one is and all the knives from Max Tkachuk and this one, of course, are one of my favorites. By the way, I have another knife. I think it's from the same designer, Mokhtar, but let's see if it is really. No, it's from Wong Design, this one, and I also like this one a lot. It's an amazing, the front flipping is okay, but the other methods of opening is just very cool, very satisfying. Some knives, you cannot explain it on camera, but some knives just are much more satisfying than others to flip and to open. And this one now is pretty satisfying. I'm just these days I was always carrying it at home and just flipping it just to try to make the detent kind of make its way onto this texture, but it was not. So that's why I polished it, and now it's fine. Now it's fine, except for these things on the blade you can see here. You probably cannot see them, but sometimes they're visible. Yes, this, and here also we have some. But it's a small price to pay for the nice flipping, you know. Now the flipping is completely okay. Everything is perfect. This knife is... I love this knife. I love a lot of knives. So this knife is one of my favorites now. So, bye.